Now, here is a conversation I never in a million years thought we'd be having here on United People's TV, but I want to speak about the concept and the idea that Apple are interested in buying Manchester United. Now, on the surface, you might look at this news that's coming from what? The Daily Star, that's coming from Manchester Evening News. Sky have just commented on it. You're looking at it going, nah, this is just another name getting thrown in a hat. And my natural instinct is to agree with that. But what I want to do in this video, please watch it. I want to explain exactly why Apple would love to own Manchester United. And you can see that this is exactly what the Glazers wanted when they worded their statement that they released. I'll explain it all. I'll try to anyway, so make sure you subscribe. Told you, I'm going to try and cover this new ownership situation from all the angles in as much accurate detail as I possibly can. It's going to be quite difficult, but let's talk about Apple. Apple. I don't need to tell you who Apple are. You know exactly who Apple are. This is where the story is coming from. It started with Jeremy Cross in the Daily Star saying that Apple plan to build the best stadium in the world if they complete a deal for Manchester United. A lot of hypotheticals, a lot of ifs and buts, saying that even gone down here and thrown a price in, haven't they? Was it like 5.8 billion or something like that? Anyway, Samuel Luckhurst of Manchester Evening News followed up on it. Technology giants Apple are also understood to be exploring a possible takeover. Whether or not he's simply just nicking the story from Jeremy Cross or whether he's got his own sources, we don't know at this particular moment in time. But then Kavi Solihull, he got involved in the situation. This is what he's just said over on Twitter.
Well, we've approached Apple for comment about their reported interest in United. There are reports out there that they're willing to pay £5.8 billion for Manchester United. Now, tech companies have become more and more interested in buying content for their streaming platforms. And of course, Manchester United is fantastic live content, but I think it would be a change in strategy for a company like Apple to buy a football club.
Now that I will not disagree with either point he makes. The fact that Manchester United, just the concept there of Apple owning all the rights to Manchester United games, I mean, they'd love that. And it would be a change in strategy. And that's what I wanted to have a conversation with you about, because I can completely understand a little bit of the logic when you look at it from what Manchester United said in their statement. Now, in terms of the finances behind it, I don't need to show you these, but I'm going to anyway, because if Apple bought Manchester United, it would not be for profit. That's what I want to try and explain. It would have nothing to do with money. This is Apple's gross profit per year, up to $170 billion in the last. Look, it is phenomenal how much money they make. In terms of cash in the bank, look at this. It's around about 40. They can literally go into the bank and pull out $48 billion. Come on, man, give me a percent of that. I'm not asking for a percent. And in terms of the overall worth of the business, I mean, come on. You're looking at in excess of nearly 2.5 trillion. It is a joke how much money Apple is worth. But this is where I think the conversation is interesting and why I feel it's worth doing this video to have a conversation with you about it. What would Apple be interested in? Making money out of Manchester United? No. The prestige of owning Manchester United? I mean, Apple's a massively prestigious company. They don't need that. You know what Apple would be interested in? Users. And this is why the statement from Avram and Joel Glazer was a bit clever in that. This is what they wrote. The strength of Manchester United rests on the passion and loyalty of our global community of 1.1 billion fans and followers. They've thrown the number out there, right? I don't know whether that's completely and 100% accurate, and it would certainly be something that would be investigated. But this is why the idea of Apple being interested in Manchester United, I can understand it from a business perspective, from their business perspective. Because you take a quick look here. These are the most used social media platforms in the world. Monthly active users. Facebook on top, still the biggest. YouTube second. WhatsApp third. Instagram fourth with 1.47. WeChat, TikTok with 1 billion. And this is the latest. This is from SEM Rush, and so it's a very reputable SEO website, SEM Rush. And this is from the start of November. Hypothetically, they're not lying about their figures. It means that Manchester United would fall right there. And in terms of a company like Apple, the concept of going out there And buying a football club that has a user base in excess, yeah, they can call it user base, fans, they'll call it user base, in excess of 1 billion is something that they would it would almost be strange if they weren't interested in the idea of it. They've sold, these are the statistics I've been trying to find. They're quite difficult to find, actually, in terms of how many iPhone users there are in the world. Apparently there are more than 1.2 billion iPhone users in the world. That's a lot of iPhone users. And Apple, if you're looking at how can Apple grow as a business, right? Sell more iPhones. I mean, they could take Manchester United and try and turn it into a profit maker. But I mean, let's quickly go back to their numbers to see why that just would not be it. Their gross profit last year was 170 billion. Even if they made a billion profit at Manchester United, which is, I mean, what was it? Our turnover was around about 600-700 million, thereabouts. I mean, they'd have to do some serious improvement, but that's not going to be it. That would still be less than 1% of what their turnover was. It's users. It's controlling or having access to as big a slice of the world's population as possible. And that's what this doorway opens with would open with Manchester United. Again, we're speaking hypothetically here. Because look, if you know how Silicon Valley works, I've got a little list here. These are just some of the angel investors that exist there. Now, angel investors and Silicon Valley, if you don't really sort of understand how it works, it's about going someone, you've got a big idea, you pitch it, and you might get 1 million and you can start your company up. And let's see what goes on. They do that because users are such an important currency. So important that you can get angel investors to invest in your business, give you millions and millions. You can lose money year on year on year with the ultimate goal of turning that into a sustainable, profitable company. Twitter, for example, lost money year on year, but they built up such a big, now I think they've got around about according to this list, around about 450 million users now. And the idea there that Apple could come into Manchester United and have access to this huge new user base and take advantage of it. Because look, Manchester United are so crap from a digital sense. Our website is absolutely poop. The website is crap as well. And geez, I don't even need to tell you about Old Trafford. From a match day perspective, when you get in Old Trafford, especially night games, you get there, you're in your seat, you forget about everything that's happened to get to that point. It's a magical place. It really is. But the concourses at Old Trafford, I mean, they're in the 90s, I'm sure they're all right. But even then, their concourses are crap. They are just so dated. And the idea there of Apple coming in and building a brand new stadium, redeveloping, that's a different conversation, and putting their stamp on it. They're a company which builds themselves on prestige, which has built themselves on quality of product. And, well, kind of dominating pretty much every market they go into. And you look at what Manchester United have and go, you know what? What if United had a little bit of this? When this is Spurs' new stadium, it looks like a brand new shopping centre rather than a stadium itself. And of course, that's going to create issues with soul and atmosphere at the very beginning. But once Spurs start creating the memories inside that stadium, it will just be magnificent. And I think Apple know a thing or two about building a good headquarters. So I find this story linking Apple with Manchester United far-fetched from the idea that they're buying United because they want to make... Geez, they do not need money. And Kaveh Solihol is right. It would be a pivot. It would be a difference in strategy. But I tell you what, if you look at it from the user perspective and the idea that Apple could come in and completely build Manchester United's digital presence, we've been naff. The access that they would have would be, wow. I'm not sure they would get a better and bigger opportunity to get hold of such a massive global user base as Manchester United. And that's why I'm doing this video, because I think from a financial perspective, it doesn't really, it's chump change to them. Doesn't matter. They could build at Old Trafford. Wouldn't really matter to them. 170 billion profit. Just give us $1 billion. We'll build a stadium. Easy peasy. Nice. But the idea that they could all of a sudden get access to a user base of a 1 billion user base, let's compare that back over here and look at the top social medias, that would put it in the top 10. It's like buying, well, it's not buying TikTok, it's too popular, but it's like buying one of these bigger, buying Snapchat. There you go, buying Snapchat for example, and buying Telegram. That's what it would be like. That's the entertainment. That's why I'm entertaining that concept of Apple. Now this might go nowhere, but I'm just covering all the news as I'm seeing it developing because it's what I try and do here on United People's TV. I hope this video has helped, and maybe you can let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think they would do it from a financial perspective as well? I'll be interested to know what you think. But because of the cleverly worded way that the Glazers made that and released that statement, and focusing there on the fact that Manchester United have got over 1 billion fans, that's what's going to be piquing the interest of Apple, of Amazon, of Facebook, of these massive digital companies, and the idea of access to a whole new user base that they would otherwise not be able to build themselves. Smart from the Glazers. Bastards.